Fine. How long's the video? If it's not long, we'll watch it. 10 minutes? Okay, I guess we'll watch the Linus video. Fine. Fine, we'll watch the Linus video. Okay. Which GPU is the best for Linux gaming? This one. Video's over. Just none of the... Don't worry about the other ones. None of the others. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's it going? What is this? I don't know what this game is. Some shooter thing.
You know what?
Yes.
Hello, Brodie, son of Robert.
That is me.
Did you hear about the Open Game Collective and Bazite?
The Open Game Collective and Bazite. I know about Bazite. What is the Open Game Collective? There you go. There's your camera. I'm not... Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I'm done. Between forced updates, bloatware, and AI features that nobody asked for.
Oh, did you see that Paint will prompt you to log in? Did you see that Paint now prompts you to log into your Microsoft account? No. It does.
What in heaven's name are you doing, son? He's not dead. He just needs the right medicine.
What do we got here? Linux 200 milligrams. By the way, take twice a day. Is there... I don't know if this is on purpose. There's a space there. This feels like it's on purpose to bait comments. I fucking hate you.
But I have an NVIDIA GPU. Isn't that a sin, according to Reddit?
Not a sin, you're just gonna have a bad experience.
Maybe? It is true that the mere mention of NVIDIA in a Linux forum can start an argument. But when...
It's not gonna start an argument, they're gonna call you stupid, and they're gonna tell you you're gonna have a bad experience. But you can do it. It's getting better. It's certainly gotten a lot better, but... If you're buying a new GPU specifically for Linux, I would not recommend you buy an NVIDIA card. If you know what you're getting into, if you need it for compute, understandable. But if you're someone who's just a regular person, you just need a GPU to do GPU things, just buy an AMD card. You'll have a much easier experience.
Linus Torvalds, the man himself, was here, he mentioned that Linux and NVIDIA have somewhat mended the relationship.
Mostly because of AI.
Now that NVIDIA is balls deep in the AI bubble and needs Linux developers on their side. Which raises the question, is AMD still the best GPU choice for Linux?
Yes.
And where does Intel land? To find out...
Does Intel even make GPUs anymore? Not in... If you need... No, to be fair, if you need a video output... Just go and buy like a fucking GT 1030 or something. What even is like the bottom tier? What even is like the bottom tier card right now? Are those still new? Can you still buy those? Yeah, if you literally just need a video output, go get something like that or buy a second-hand card. If you need AV1, I guess. But like the new AMD cards have AV1 as well now. Per the recent reveal. Are those cards for sale though? Can you buy those? I know the reveal you're talking about, but are those actually like a thing you can buy?
We spent weeks testing, and I don't just mean FPS numbers. I'm talking setup process and...
Let me guess, the reason why a bunch of people sent me this video, they did something really stupid. What's your bet they did something really stupid? I'm on Linux, so I don't have to deal with Microsoft's BS, but I have to deal with 5-star issues that my GTK themes, scroll bar styling, whoever implemented that should be made to back away from the console slowly, with his hands up and never make another comment. They used Kubuntu. Why?
Day-to-day usability too. Now, as you might expect, AMD does remain a very strong choice, but you might be shocked. Shocked, I say, when you see how far the others, especially certain ones, have come. What never shocks
what else is gonna
anyone
come?
anymore, though,
Me.
is my segues to our sponsor.
Play Tracker. They keep all your gaming
Wow.
achievements in one place. It tracks all of your performance and stats across multiple games on multiple platforms and lets you compare and compete against friends.
Ooh,
Try Play Tracker for
internet
free
points.
using our link down below.
Skip the ad? No, you.
Before we get into the results, let's talk about the setup process.
Fake
We
Enderman.
chose these 5 GPUs.
What do we have
to
here? 7700 XT, 5060 Ti, 4060 Ti, 9070. Okay, fine. And the one NVIDIA card, because what the fuck else are you gonna pick?
Represent both recent and slightly older gaming cards from the main brands. And also, Intel was there. As for our
Yeah.
distro, our original plan, when this was an article on LTT Labs,
Oh, read the intro. It had a joke. Insert niche Linux distro is the best for gaming, and anyone who recommends anything else does it. What is, like... I get why Linus still thinks this, but, like, it's not 2010 anymore. Just use Bazite. Like, there's, what, maybe 3 recommendations that people actually make now. It's Bazite, it's CashOS, maybe Nabara, maybe, and anything else is just going to be a general recommendation. It'll be use Fedora or something like that. But like this idea of people recommending like weird niche distros, that's not really a thing anymore. And anyone who is, they're stupid. Just don't listen to them. Honestly, if you want a good answer, just go ask ChatGPT. And it's gonna fucking give you Bazite and CashOS. I still think that CashOS is a psyop. That's a new one. I've not heard that before.
a problem that will likely be familiar to any Linux early adopter.
Oh,
Also, Intel was LTTLabs.com was good old Ubuntu 2404 LT was an Intel was there. As for our distro, our original plan, when this was an article on LTTLabs.com, was good old Ubuntu 2404.
Fire whoever suggested that. Fire them out of a cannon. That person is a fucking moron. No. No, if you want to do a test for Linux gaming even in 2024, don't fucking use Ubuntu LTS. No. No. What a horrible suggestion. This is like saying I want to benchmark Windows 11 performance. I'm going to go use Windows 10. No.
Or LTS, or long-term support. Why that one? Well, while there are numerous more gaming-focused distros, like Bazite or SteamOS, we decided to approach this experiment with the idea that we wanted a stable, user-friendly, well-supported desktop experience.
So you went with Ubuntu LTS. Just use fucking Fedora. I cannot wait for the day that I have to stop hearing about Ubuntu on the desktop. Just go and fucking use Fedora.
That can also game. Maybe we should do a video going through Linux gaming distros, though. Comment which ones
Yes.
that you guys would want to see.
The editor knows! Based editor. Go use Bazite then. Bazite's also fine. And make sure you install the right version of Bazite that actually has your fucking drivers, unlike some people do.
Right out of the gate, we ran into a problem that will likely be familiar to any Linux early adopter. Driver support.
Yeah, because you're using a fucking 2-year-old distro that has 2.5-year-old drivers.
Out of our 5 GPUs, 4 of them failed to work out of the box.
Yeah, because you're on fucking Ubuntu OTS.
Some were easy fixes. For the 4060 Ti, Ubuntu has a driver on their additional drivers page, and after a short reboot, it worked flawlessly. But the 5060 Ti, that was a bit of a different story. See, back when we originally did this testing, Ubuntu didn't have a driver for it at all.
Because it's a 2-year-old fucking distro!
Meaning we had to settle for the official driver from NVIDIA, which, if you ask any Linux head, they're
I guarantee you didn't have to do this.
going to tell you is a big no-no.
It's not a no-no, it's just going to cause you a lot of pain because you're going to have to go and manually update your drivers.
As for our Radeon 9070, it too was lacking baked-in drivers and
Because you're on a fucking 2-year-old kernel. Ah!
AMD hadn't yet rolled out their official installer. Finally, the Arc B580 appeared to be working until the moment we fired up a game and it showed its true colors. Turns out that the easiest fix was to use Kubuntu, which uses the
At least this is a better suggestion. It's better than Ubuntu OTS, I'll give you that, but Jesus fucking Christ.
KDE desktop environment.
Kubuntu's great, okay? Kubuntu is great. But, like, if you want to have a representative sample of Linux gaming, or a representative showcase of Linux gaming, make sure you're using something that has the new fucking drivers on it.
Rather than GNOME. Of course.
Not gonna happen because Ubuntu is the default in every Windows person's mind. Yeah, I really hope that eventually changes. To be fair, SteamOS is kind of becoming that. For a lot of gamers, SteamOS is now becoming Linux, which is an improvement, but it does mean that people are trying to get SteamOS on their generic hardware, which is a whole nother problem.
Of course, all of these issues have since been resolved. Yay, open source! So, what's the point of bringing them up? Well, we said we'd talk about the experience, and it turns out that for us, the bottom line is that it comes down less to which brand of GPU you choose, and more down to the age and the exact timing.
No shit. The same is true on Windows. If you take a 50 series card and try to run it on Windows 8, I don't think they have Windows 8. Maybe they do have Windows 8 drivers for it. I don't know. Windows 7. Try to run it on Windows 7. Good luck. Good luck. On that note, actually, ReactOS developers this is something really cool. ReactOS developers are working on making use of the Windows driver infrastructure so you could actually load 50 series drivers on Vista, on XP, which is really cool.
The easiest fix across the board for all of them was simply to move off of LTS and use Ubuntu 25, which just uses a newer version of the Linux kernel that had baked-in support for all of our cards. With everything...
The kernel doesn't for NVIDIA, but... Do they have a Linux person working at LTT at this point? Because I don't know if they do. Because if they do, they don't have them anywhere near the script.
Up and running, how's the day-to-day life? Well, this is where things get totally fine, actually. Most people these days, except for you, Dave, and by the way, you're so good at using computers, do a huge % of their work in a browser.
Sure.
Google Docs, Teams, support tickets, even some design work can now be done fully within a browser.
I would hate to do that. That sounds
even for
awful.
the work that isn't, some combination of Linux alternative software,
Da
virtual
Vinci.
machines, or remote desktop applications could probably allow most people to make the switch.
The closest they have is Elijah that started using it not long ago. Okay.
Of course, the day-to-day usability of Linux is not the point of this video. The point of this video is the difference in that experience between our various cards. And I kind of hate to say it, but it's kind of a draw again. I know that's not very satisfying, and I'm sure that you would much rather that I praise the corporate brand that you love and bash the one that you really hate. But Linus Torvalds himself is doing his day-to-day work right now on an Intel Arc.
Yeah, Arc GPUs are supported through Mesa. I would expect Arc to be supported perfectly fine. Yeah. That's all done through the open source driver stack.
Because of how special it is compared to the other options, but because for his work, it just plain didn't matter that much. He actually cared more about how quiet the cooler was. With that said, there will be some huge exceptions to this. Depending on the software you use, there could be major differences in performance, compatibility, and stability. But which card works best for training LLMs or whatever?
An NVIDIA card. CUDA. The answer to that is just CUDA. You don't get it. Like, things have gotten better with AMD in that regard, but most things are still very CUDA heavy.
That's beyond the scope of this video, which brings us to the big question. What about the games? Now, before we show you the numbers, it's important to understand that our usual testing software doesn't work quite the same across Windows and Linux. That's why we stuck to simple in-game benchmarking tools.
Fair.
Also, for that reason, we can't draw a definitive conclusion about exactly how the Linux and Windows performance compares to each other. What we can do is get a broad impression, and we can say that across all of our three brands, if you were hoping for a big win for Linux, unfortunately, that still isn't the case. Across the board, we saw lower performance on Linux at 1080p, both with
Gamers Nexus actually did a really good video benchmarking Linux. Like a fantastic. It's like an hour long. How long is the video? Let me check. How long's the video? We're not gonna watch it here. Gamers Nexus Linux benchmark. 48 minutes long. This one. This is an ad. Let me skip past the ad. Let me go to my main account, actually. I've not watched the Games Next video. I've seen bits and pieces of it. So they have this video here. Where's their graphs? Where do be your graphs? And let me guess, what did they pick? Was it Bazite? Wow, it's Bazite. Who would have fucking guessed? Where do be your benchmarks? Here we go. Graphs. This is just Linux. Do you have your Windows and Linux comparison on here somewhere? Where in the fucking video is the comparison? Oh god, they have... Okay, they've laid this out. They've laid this out very... Okay, I don't think they actually have them side by side. They have separate charts. But Gamers Nexus basically came to the conclusion that things are pretty much as good or better. The main problem you have here with NVIDIA is you're running old drivers. It's always the case.
And without ray tracing, and at 1440.
This is actually a really big issue right here. Like, they are actually just comparing Windows with up-to-date drivers versus Linux with out-of-date drivers. That's the comparison being made.
Of course, that's not the question that's most on our minds right now. Rather, we want to know which GPU maker loses the least performance switching over to Linux. Starting with Intel, the B580 was about 30% worse on average. That means that most of your games are going to run a full class of card worse, and you might even...
Yeah, if you're running old, out-of-date drivers, they will,
like
for
what
sure.
we saw with Dota 2, that are frankly unacceptable. I mean, look at this. This game has a native Linux build. That means no Proton compatibility
Don't play native builds. Don't do that.
there. And yet, it's getting barely over half of the performance compared to Windows. As for NVIDIA, well, things got a little spicy here to say the least. Do you remember I mentioned that our original article tested on Ubuntu 24? Well, in that test, the older 4060 Ti was still within striking distance of our Windows tests in a fair number of our games. Some were further off, but it was pretty close. As for our 5060 Ti, I mean,
You were also testing on X11 back then. Pretty sure.
is a faster, better card, but the difference between Windows and Linux was about 30%, just like we saw with Intel. Yikes. Though, not as yikes as the internet might have you.
How have they spent so much money on the lab, and their testing methodology is so bad? Like, they spent millions of dollars on the lab, and they run an out-of-date distro with old drivers, and... man. I don't understand,
is
man.
the fact that upgrading to Ubuntu 25 for the retesting that we did for this video saw an overall regression in Linux optimization across both of our NVIDIA cards. Or, I don't know, maybe they tuned the Windows drivers to be even better? All I can say for sure.
You're also comparing between X11 and... Oh, firstly, you're comparing between GNOME and KDE, and also X11 and Whale... I don't like this video. I really don't like this video.
Could use just a few of their trillions of dollars to
Salutations.
do a little bit better here.
Salutations, good
AMD
sir.
ends.
How's it
Well,
going?
It won't be a huge surprise to many of you, but it turns out that if you let open source folks do open source things with your drivers, you might get better open source performance. With some games, like Cyberpunk 2077, seeing almost no performance loss, and even some outliers.
I think 2404, maybe I'm wrong there, but it was definitely I think 2404 still defaulted to X11. Maybe I'm wrong there, but it was definitely comparing GNOME and KDE. I will say that. I thought 2404 still defaulted to X11. Maybe I'm wrong there.
Like Strange Brigade on our RX 9070 that actually performed better on Linux. For gaming then, AMD emerges once again as a clear winner. So if we factor that in, let's see here. We've got AMD wins gaming. Everything else is a draw. AMD wins!
Yup.
Or do they? Our final test was to throw a couple of different distros into the mix because, let's face it,
wow.
our entire comments section would be complaining if we didn't. Since AMD came out on top,
What's he gonna... Oh my god, what? Please tell me you're gonna use something that has up-to-date drivers. Please tell me you're gonna use something with up-to-date drivers and an up-to-date kernel.
wanted to see how our RX 7700
Oh no, they're gonna install the wrong version of Bazzite, aren't they?
XT would handle Bazzite, Manjaro, Ubuntu 25, and Ubuntu 24 across 3 games. And what we found was that
There was functionally no difference between the three.
which I gotta say is honestly a really good thing. I think the last thing that the Linux community wants is a war over which distro performs the best.
I
for
don't
gaming.
trust
There's
any of
already
your
enough of a war.
I don't trust any of your testing methodology here. I don't believe that for a second. I do not believe for a second that over 2 years of driver changes, you don't see any performance difference. I don't know.
Really good thing. I think the last thing that the Linux community wants is a war over which distro performs the best for gaming. There's already enough of a war over the ease of use of gaming across various distros, or the unique value propositions that they offer from pre-installed applications and features, or slick UIs for organizing your favorite retro titles. So, in conclusion then, AMD wins, but it's also totally valid to go Linux on
In conclusion, maybe don't watch LTT for benchmarking.
any GPU hardware. In fact, I think it's fair to say that for most people out there, it really doesn't matter that much. Certainly, it doesn't matter enough that you should wait until you can afford a new GPU before you take the Linux plunge. If you're interested in jumping ship from Windows, you're not alone right now.
Gamers Nexus went through so much care for benchmarking, maintaining a clean bench, asking Bazzite devs to clear certain things up before they began testing. Yeah, I bet they're using the Steam Snap. I wouldn't be
think that
surprised.
your bigger roadblocks are
no,
going
I
to be
doubt
around
that.
settling on a distro that
Guess what? They didn't even use Mango HUD. They used Steam and in-game benchmarking tools. Oh my god, he's still showing this clip.
now. And I think that your bigger roadblocks are going to be around settling on a distro that suits you and getting all of your devices and workflows running. But the good news is that there's an ever-growing
editors
number
love
of
that
resources
clip.
out there for new users, and we're going to link some of those below for you guys to take a look at. One way or another, the year of the Linux desktop is getting ever closer.
Don't
and
hold your card like that.
arguably, I would say is even today for people that mostly work inside a browser or would rather give up a
Do
little
not
bit
hold
of
your card like
performance
that.
than put up with
Stop getting your
Windows's
finger grease on the cards.
just like you're going to put up with this segue to our sponsor.
Play Tracker. You know what time of year is always a hoot? Spotify rap season. There's just something satisfying about seeing what music and moods you experience throughout the year. Well, Play Tracker is kind of like that,
Man.
but for gaming. It works across multiple consoles and platforms.
why-
As you play games
Why do we watch LTT benchmark anything?
throughout the year, you earn experience, unlock rewards, and show it all off in a customizable user profile. It's more than just gamifying gaming though. There's a fun social element to it as
wow.
you compete
That's a
against
nice
your
show.
friends, regardless if they prefer console or computer. Or if you prefer friendship over rivalry, you can create parties to share the credit for overcoming obstacles together. Plus, there are giveaways for when you complete challenges or you clear up your gaming backlog. Try Play Tracker for free today by using our link down below.
If you guys enjoyed this video, why not
I don't know if enjoyed's the word I would use, but I certainly watched it. The information, the editors missed including something. Man, just go and watch. Just go and watch Gamers Nexus. Just go and watch Gamers Nexus for benchmarking. Anyway, yeah, let's have a look at that. How long's that video?